Recording in progress.
Hey guys, Mr. Roos here to help you out with this chapter 5, the first part review worksheet. So you can see a lot of this here is just kind of going over the key concepts here. So we'll go through an example. Then you probably should pause the video, try this other one on your own. We'll check our answers to see how well you do. All right, so this first one here. So we're just simplifying the square root. None of these come out nice, so you can't just plug them into the calculator. You have to break them down. So, okay, first we break down the number inside of the square root. 98 is 2 times 49. 49 is 7 times 7. Thank you. Alrighty, and gotta pause the video real quick here because I just need to update something.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so now that we got it broken down, what we do is we look for partners in a square root. So we have 2 7s here. We can have 1 7 break out and go to the 3 that's out there. So 3 times 7 is 21. And then that 2 did not have a partner, so it's stuck inside. So the answer would be 21 radical 2. So if you guys want to pause the video, try this next one on your own. Let's see if you got it right. You got to break down 108. So that's 2 and 54. I'm going to say 54 is 2 and 27. There's a lot of different ways you can go through this. That's 3 and 9. And that's 3 and 3. All right, so we're looking for pairs. We have a pair of 2. So this 2 can go out, meet with the 10. This 3 can go out and meet with the 10 as well with the 2. That 3 does not have a partner. So the 10 is going to be multiplied by 2 and by 3. So that give us 60. And then this 3 did not have a partner, so it's by itself. Okay, so that's how we simplify a square root. The next thing we did was simplifying square roots with imaginary answers. The only difference here is these answers are all going to have an I next to them because we have a negative inside of the square root. So the same thing that we do previously is we just break down the radical. Okay, 54, okay, 2 and 27. That's 3 and 9. It's 3 and 3. Okay, so we look at this here. I'm just going to cross these out because we broke them down. All right, we have a pair of 3s. It can go outside with the 11. So 3 times 11 is 33. But what we're going to do here is we're going to say 33i because this negative inside the square root. And then we say what's left over in the radical. This 2 and that 3 did not have partners, so they just multiply together inside. And there's the answer. 33i radical 6. All right, if you guys want to pause this video, try this next one on your own. See if you got it right. All right, so you had to break down the 75. Okay, for me, that's 3 and 25. 25 is 5 and 5. So we look for partners here. We got 5s that have partners. So we can break down the 5, have it go outside with the 12. 5 times 12 is 60. We just need to remember to put an I here because we have an imaginary answer. It's the square root of a negative 75. The only thing left over on the inside is the 3. There we go. There's the answer, 60i radical 3. Okay, so the next part that we did the quadratic equation. If you don't remember the quadratic equation, write it down. It is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, where the number in front here is your a, b, c. Keeping it going. All right, so let's do this first one together. We would have x equals negative, our b is 6, minus or plus or minus square root of b squared, so 6 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, c is 4, all over 2 times a is 1. All right, so we got x equals negative 6 plus or minus. Okay, 6 squared is 36. Minus 4 times 1 times 4 is 16. All over 2 times 1, that's 2. All right, we subtract inside the square root next. All right, 36 minus 16 is 20. Okay, so that does not come out nice, and we're not going to put decimals. We're going to break it down. All right, 20 is 2 and 10. 10 is 2 and 5. We're looking for partners here. So we got a pair of 2s. 2 can go outside. So we would have x equals -6 plus or minus, instead of writing radical 20, we're going to change that to 2 radical 5 over 2. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to reduce. Can we divide 6, 2, and 2 all by the same thing? Yeah, we can divide everything by 2. And since 2 is the denominator, we're just going to write this as -3 plus or minus 1 radical 5, or just radical 5. So there's the answer. So if you guys want to pause this video, try the next one on your own. Let's see if you got it right. Okay, we got x equals -5 plus or minus the square root of -5 squared minus 4 times a is 2, c is 1, all over 2 times a is 2. All right, so that makes it a +5 plus or minus the square root of -5 squared is a +25 minus 4 times 2 times 1, that is 8 over 4. All right, so we get x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 8 is 17 over 4. Okay, the next thing we would do is we try to break down 17, and it doesn't. 17 is a prime number, so we can't break this down. There's nothing that can reduce. That's the answer. So that's, one of the things like about these, simplified answers, the exact answers, is sometimes they don't really reduce, and it's a crazy answer like that. That's just what we put down. Okay, we'll move on to the last part here. Same thing here, using the quadratic formula again, but this time we're going to have some imaginary answers. So that means that we should probably have some negatives inside of the square root. All right, so first one here, let's walk through this together. We got x equals -, b is 10, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So that's 10 again, squared, minus 4 times a is 1, c is 28, all over 2 times a is 1. All right, so we got -10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared is 100 minus, okay, you might have to get a calculator here, 4 times 1 times 28, or 4 times 28, and that's 112 over 2 times 1. Okay, that's 2. All right, so that'd be -10 plus or minus the square root of -12 over 2. All right, so we're going to break down the square root of -12. Remember, okay, it's just like breaking down 12, which is 2 and 6, and then 2 and 3. We're just going to put an I with our answer. So we got a 2 that breaks out, 3 that stays in. -10 plus or minus, this would be 2i radical 3 over 2. And then we just reduce. Can we divide 10 and 2 by 2? We can. We can reduce that. It'd be a -5 plus or minus 1 I radical 3. And that's the answer. All right, last problem here. Why don't you guys give this one a try on your own? You can pause this video and let's see how you do. All right, let's check our work here. All right, so you should have x equals -, b is -2, plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times a is 5, c is 1, all over 2 times a is 5. All right, so we got a +2 plus or minus the square root of -2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 5 is 20, over 2 times 5 is 10. All righty. So we get 2 plus or minus the square root of, that would be -16 over 10. All right, -16 is nice because that does break down perfectly. The square root of 16 is 4, so the square root of -16 is 4i. The only thing that we would have to do is reduce this. We're not going to divide, it's not going to come out super nice, but we can divide 2, 4, and 10 all by the same number. We can divide them all by 2. So we'd have 1 plus or minus 2i over 5. Okay, guys. So here's the review for the test. Make sure you guys go over this. You can look at this again before you take the test. You guys should be all right. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. If not, have a great day and thanks for watching.